My name is Chris Kane. I'm currently CEO of BBC Commercial Projects, the group formed to maximise the value from Television Centre whilst protecting the legacy.
So in the last few years there's been some big changes in the BBC, specifically in relocating up to Manchester away from the London base. What were the biggest challenges you faced with this project?
Well, I think the move to Manchester was one of a whole raft of projects, a sort of a flotilla of projects, from setting up the new home of the BBC in the north at Salford's Media City, to helping create the new revitalised broadcasting house in central London, to a whole raft of projects the breadth and length of the country. Big challenges, I think, is trying to get true integration between the world of design and construction and the world of facility management, the people who have to operate the building once the building is up and running.
And these moves seem to be part of a bigger BBC strategy to modernise. What influence has FM had within this strategy?
I would say pretty limited in one respect, if you think about it as just the bro operation of the estate. But when you look at the whole workplace strategy and about making better use of space and space utilisation and all that goes with that, then it has quite a significant impact.
At what stage of the process were you first involved?
Well, what we've been doing here is actually integrating all of the three tribes, I call, of the workplace sector, which is FM, asset management, transaction management, and design construction management, into one unified team. And we looked at this as a value chain, if you will, where we operate the estate and we change the estate. And we moved away from traditional FM being a very siloed, disparate group, to one which was pivotal to everything we do.
And the working world has changed a lot in the last 10 or 20 years in terms of flexible working and advancements in technology. What part do you think FM can play in supporting a modern workplace?
I think it'll be centre stage of the emerging changes to work. We can do things now today which were not possible 5-10 years ago, and that's having a significant impact on the workplaces. And that's why the FM industry needs to gear itself up to be able to service the enterprise that it supports, not only in the core office but anywhere really.
And do you think FM is keeping up with the pace of change?
I think it's a big challenge, because the FM as an industry needs to be much better defined and much better understood by the consumers of FM. Is FM a profession, one asks oneself. How is a facility manager regarded by people not of our sector? How is it understood? What do people see its value is? These are all big questions which need to be fully addressed.
What value do you think FM can bring to an organisation?
Well, like all components of the supply chain or the value chain of an organisation, if you don't have the ability to work, if you don't have safe, secure workplaces, then you're not able to function, are you? So that means it must be quite valuable. But the challenge for our industry is to be better able to articulate the values and to be better able to propose a value proposition to enable FM to be truly recognised as a major contributory factor to the enterprise.
Do you think one of the biggest problems in trying to quantify value is that you can put a cost on FM services, but it's not necessarily easy to quantify the value that FM delivers?
I would look at it in terms of everyone focuses on cost, and by definition that means efficiency. Well, I think we should also look at how one adds value by bringing the capability for an organisation to be more effective in how it uses its people, the attraction and retention of staff and talent, the whole issue about sustainability and how we make much better use and more effective use of the built environment.
In recent months there's been a lot of debate and discussion about how to push the industry forward and how it should promote itself. What do you think FM should and could be doing?
I think FM as a brand needs to be redefined, to be clarified. The challenge of how the industry brings value to the enterprises it supports, what is its value proposition, how does it fit in, and how is it going to help the wider sector in Great Britain to move forward.
And at the start of the month, there was a major announcement made about the merger of some of the main FM industry bodies, such as the BIFM, the FMA, Asset Skills and the CSSA. What do you think of this proposal?
The sector is still way too fragmented, and the sooner the entire body of people who focus on supporting an enterprise get together, the better.
One of the other things that's been spoken about quite a lot in the last year is how to get new blood into FM. What do you think can be done to attract new talent into FM and make it a career choice that those leaving school or leaving university can say, I want to be an FM?
Well, I think that goes back to my earlier point about what is the FM brand? What would make it interesting for a 20-something-year-old who's come out of college to consider making a career in this sector? And that's a really difficult question to answer at the moment because it lacks definition.
Do you think, therefore, that having something like competency frameworks that are standard across the industry would help manage and develop talent?
I think anything like that can help, but I think it goes down much more fundamentally to how to broaden the appeal of what we do to a different audience, an audience that doesn't come out of the traditional engineering, FM, real estate backgrounds. Maybe some more people who might have originally considered, say, the hotel industry and that side of things.
And a lot has been discussed about the importance of apprenticeships. Are these something that you've used within the BBC?
Not greatly, but we have experimented in part in trying to bring different people in at school leaver level and partnering with our major supply chain partners to do that.
And do you think that apprenticeships are useful?
Personally, I'm a believer in that whole approach of apprenticeships and giving people experience on the ground as to what life is really like.
And in general, do you think enough is being done to develop and manage talent within the FM sector?
I think it needs a whole very consistent approach in terms of mentoring and coaching and further education, and to demonstrate to people what the art of the possible is. But I think the key thing we as an industry as a whole need to understand is how we best support the businesses in which we're embedded in. What makes that business tick? For example, in the BBC, we focus particularly on speaking the language of broadcasting and understanding the business of broadcasting so we can better discuss and engage with our customer base.
What do you think the most important skills are required by an FM?
I think you can split them up into business and technical, and there's a whole discussion about what makes the technical side of the thing, but on the business side it's about being a change agent, having good leadership skills, having good communication skills, and understanding stakeholders.
So we've talked a lot about some of these things during the discussion, but what do you see as being the biggest challenges facing the FM industry in the next few years?
I think it's really finding what its future holds. Where next, given that there are seismic changes taking place to how people work, to the fact that the economy will be relatively flat for the next 5 to 10 years, certainly in the Western economies, to the impact of globalization and what that will mean. And I think, as some of my peers have said, work is no longer a place you go to, it's something you do, and that changes the rules completely.
And on the other side, what do you see as being the biggest opportunities?
I think the biggest opportunity for the industry, and I regard the industry as both corporate real estate and FM. I've never found the need to differentiate, and that goes back to my earlier comments about brand. I think the opportunity is to take a leadership role in the definition of the new workplace support function.
And finally, what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning and makes you excited to be an FM?
What gets me up in the morning is the ability to do interesting things with interesting people.